Good evening, parents and students of the Johnston Heights community and the Greater Surrey community. My name is Emily Haler. I am the IB Diploma Programme Coordinator at Johnston Heights Secondary, and I will be leading you through our presentation this evening on the IB Diploma Programme. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for listening tonight and just say a welcome from Johnston Heights. We are very happy to be opening our applications for our second IBDP cohort. Some of you may know that the IBDP is new to Johnston Heights just this September. We have been an authorized IB Middle Years Program or MYP school for a few years now, but the diploma program just started at our school in September. So we have our first cohort of 60 grade 11 students that are well underway. This presentation will not be discussing the IB Middle Years Program, which is for grades 8 through 10 students. If you do have questions about the Middle Years Program, please feel free to contact our MYP coordinator, Jennifer McDonald, and you can find her contact information on our school website. This presentation is specific to current grade 10 students in Surrey who are interested in applying for the IBDP for their grade 11 year. On the agenda for this evening, I will be discussing what is the IB Diploma Program, the benefits of the IB Diploma Program if that choice is taken, what the program looks like here at Johnston Heights in terms of our framework and course offerings, and finally the application process and admissions criteria. If you do have questions or comments, please feel free to use this QR code. If you scan it, it will bring you to an online form where you can submit your name and contact information and questions, and I will get back to you either by phone or email within the week. So please use that if any questions arise from the presentation. First, we would like to show all of our parents and students a little bit about what is the IB Diploma Program and why is it different from the regular BC graduation program. The IB mission statement really explains what is unique about an IB education. The IB aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. To this end, the organization works with schools, governments, and international organizations to develop challenging programs of international education and rigorous assessment. These programs encourage students across the world to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners who understand that people with their differences can also be right. In reading the IB mission statement, hopefully it shows that the IB is an internationally minded program. The rigorous assessment very much sets up students for success. The IB really focuses on skill development, and the IB learner profile to create caring, lifelong learners is really at the core of what we do daily as teachers and learners in the program. The IB Diploma Program is a 2-year fully immersed program for grade 11 through 12. So students will apply for the program this year while they are in grade 10, and then in September they will start the program at the start of grade 11 and continue the program into grade 12. And so fully immersed means that they will not be in any regular high school classes. All of their classes will be within the diploma program, and that will encompass their final 2 years of high school. Second, the IBDP is considered a post-secondary preparation program, meaning we do work on developing the skills that students will require to be successful in post-secondary. That is not to say that students who do not do the IBDP can go to university. It's just that the learning environment of the DP is built to mimic some of the expectations and responsibilities that post-secondary students encounter. Therefore, it is academically rigorous. Students should expect that the level of learning, the homework requirements, and the curriculum is more in depth than what they would experience in the regular high school program. Another thing to know about the IBDP is that it is globally recognized. So students who complete the IB Diploma Program could apply to universities across the globe, and they will know at those schools what type of student they will be receiving. They are familiar with our courses. A student who takes DP Global Politics here at Johnston Heights will be learning the same course that a student would learn in London, England, who is taking the same global politics. So it is globally recognized, it's globally consistent, and that can be a really good thing if a student is thinking of going abroad at any point in their life. And in terms of the philosophy and the pedagogy of the program, international mindedness, as I stated earlier, is at the outside core of everything we do. So we are always thinking global, acting global. All of our content and curriculum comes from a global lens to try and get students to develop a cultural understanding, cultural awareness of everything that they may not see within their communities. As well, there are 10 learner profile traits that we hope and encourage students to develop over the 2-year program. These traits such as principled, caring, knowledgeable, thinking, reflective, these 10 traits really establish the core of the behaviors that we like to see in our students, and quite honestly the skills that we feel that will be most useful to them as they go into post-secondary. Our third point being broad and in-depth. As I go through the program framework, that will become more clear. The IB Diploma Program is designed to develop really well-rounded learners as they study subjects in all different disciplines. They go very in-depth with their curriculum because they study these subjects over 2 years. And so the program is designed to really have students engage very deeply with what they're learning. And lastly, the style of teaching and learning is what we would call concept and inquiry based, meaning that students will do a lot of research, a lot of exploration. The assessments are designed to draw on big ideas and concepts rather than facts and regurgitation of these facts, I guess, in a sense. And so the style may be a little bit different from what students are used to if they have not been to an IB school before, but it is really an interesting style of teaching and learning. In terms of the benefits, I will go a little bit more into detail in this on the next couple of slides, but this poster here kind of outlines a quick summary of some of the benefits of the program. As I stated earlier, graduates are globally minded. It's an internationally recognized qualification. It does increase students' chances of university admissions, and students tend to develop better thinking skills, time management skills, organization skills across the board in comparison to non-DP students. So to go a little bit more in depth with these program benefits, first, post-secondary skills. Students will engage deeply with research, writing, and thinking. Their time management and organization will drastically improve over the 2 years. They will have to employ a lot of resilience and independence. And generally, when students get to university, they do perform better than students who have not completed the IB Diploma Program. While they are at the school over the 2 years, the student experience is really one of the main benefits, I believe. The peer connection. Students will be in a cohort of, I said, hopefully 75 students. They will move with those 75 students over the 2 years, experiencing the same classes, sharing the same projects, doing clubs and teams and all different things together. And so they really get an in-depth connection with their peers. So do they with their teachers as well, because students will have the same teacher for 2 years for each of their subjects. And of course, as I explained earlier, the enrichment of the curriculum is really one of the main benefits of the program. Post-secondary admissions. Students who apply to university with the IB Diploma Program do have unique admission criteria, and as I said, it is globally recognized. So universities, if you go onto their pages and you look at their admissions criteria and you look under an IB Diploma Program student, They do have very unique admissions criteria. Universities really like students to apply to their schools if they've done the IB Diploma Program because universities know that they are going to come in with a really strong set of skills. And lastly, post-secondary credits. Students may earn advanced credit for the courses that they take in the IB Diploma Program. So for example, if a student takes IB Literature higher level and they get a score of a 6 in that course, when they start in UBC first year, they would not have to take UBC first year English. The UBC would grant them the credits for that course. So that can really save students a lot of time and money when they begin their first year of university. Here are some of the things that universities had to say about IB Diploma Program students and why they value the program. So coming from Harvard University, we see students have excellent preparation. We like to see the credential of the IB Diploma Program in our applicants. Coming from UBC, what does the IB Diploma Program score tell us? Our research and student performance at UBC indicates that IB students with the diploma score in the 27 to 30 point range out of a maximum 45 perform the same as straight A students at a provincial high school. So even though 27 to 30 out of 45 may not seem like a super high score, immediately even performing at that level, students are doing very well in university compared to regular BC graduates. From the London School of Economics, students are very well-rounded with great time management skills and score higher than students in other national systems. The data presented in this table from UBC asked first-year students to rank their fluency in specific skills and abilities. And so you can see that IB students, in compared to non-IB students, definitely felt more confident and fluent in some of the core academic skills when they started university, specifically in research, comprehending, making presentations, and being effective and clear in writing. And across the board, you can see that students are performing better in terms of their skill set when they approach university. That kind of brings me to the end of the piece of the presentation that it discusses why a student might want to do the IB Diploma Program. If you would like more information on that, we do have a student and parent brochure available. You can also head to the IBO website where you can watch videos from IB Diploma Program students and read a bit more about what the program is designed to be. I'll now discuss what the IB Diploma Program looks like at Johnston Heights and go over a little bit of the framework and what students will actually do in their 2 years of the IBDP. In the IB Diploma Program, students will take 6 courses over the 2 years. And that is very different from what students would do in a traditional BC graduation program. If you can imagine, in grade 11, students take 8 courses, and then in grade 12, they take another 8 courses for a total of 16. In the IBDP, students take 6 courses only, and those courses continue from grade 11 into grade 12. You see here from the framework diagram 6 disciplines, or what the IB calls groups of study: language acquisition, studies in language and literature, individuals and societies, mathematics, arts, and sciences. So students will pick one course from each of those 6 disciplines for study. The kind of option there is to not take an art. In lieu of an art, students may take an additional science or an additional individuals and societies, which is like social studies. But students must take 6 courses and only 6 courses. There is no time for students to take additional courses outside of the DP. Sometimes students want to take like psychology. Well, unfortunately, by doing this program, that's not an option. But we do find that most course offerings are exactly what the students want, and I'll go over those course offerings shortly. Out of the 6 courses, students must pick 3 to do at what we call higher level, or HL. And HL courses require more hours, so 240 hours of study over the 2 years. And they are the courses where students are really going to go in depth, and they're going to, by the end, be learning university level curriculum in those 3 courses. So these are the courses where students should be picking their passions, where they should be picking their strengths, because they are going to spend a lot of time in these classes. They do require additional assessments, and if students perform well in these classes, they may be able to earn post-secondary advanced credits. The other 3 courses will be studied at what we call standard level, or SL. These are 150 hours over the 2 years. They are still advanced somewhat in their curriculum, but they do not require as much study, as much assessment than the HLs do. The second major component outside of the coursework in the IB Diploma Program is called the core. And there are 3 aspects of the core: theory of knowledge, extended essay, and CAS, or creativity, activity, and service. So first, theory of knowledge is kind of a 7th course that students will study. However, it is outside of the 6 subject disciplines, and it is only 100 hours over the 2 years. So it's kind of a shorter course. It's referred to as TOK, and it's an interdisciplinary course that's intended to bring students all together into the same room and discuss what they're learning in their 6 subject areas. How do these things all fit together? How do we build knowledge? How do we build these critical thinking skills? And the students really enjoy this course because it's really a place for them to engage with each other, discuss what they're learning, and really build connections in their subject areas. There is no examination for this course, but there is a project to complete at the end. In grade 11, they complete this course in the classroom, and then grade 12, it kind of moves to a check-in model or a drop-in model where they kind of meet with their TOK teacher once a week. The next piece is the extended essay, and this is maybe the most challenging piece of the program, but also probably the most rewarding piece of the program. The extended essay is a 4,000-word research paper in a subject of the student's choosing. Essentially, the students will pick a subject, they will develop a research question, they will go through a process of research, and then they will write an academic research paper of 4,000 words. They will be supervised by a teacher in the school who is a subject specialist in that area. However, the work is done completely by the student outside of class time. There is no extended essay class. It is designed to really challenge the students who develop that independence, to develop the post-secondary skills, the time management skills, because they are introduced to this extended essay in grade 11 in September, and they complete this extended essay at the end of grade 12. So it is nearly a 2-year process of completing this very big task. It is completely done outside of class time, as I said. There is some instruction at the beginning where students will learn, okay, what is this project about? How will it be marked? How do I go through the process? But once those lessons are completed, the students are on their own to do the work. And they will have their 3 check-ins with their teacher supervisor and get a little bit of feedback, and then submit that essay to the IB for marking by the time they finish grade 12. It is very challenging, but as I said, students do find this rewarding because it does resemble a university level research paper that university students write all the time. And so students are at a real advantage when they go into university already knowing how to write an academic research paper, which I can tell you from experience is a very big advantage. The last piece is creativity, activity, and service, or CAS. And this is kind of a fun piece of the program where students get to engage in their extracurricular activities. So sports, clubs, volunteerism, service, activities of their choosing. They complete activities in the 3 areas of creativity, activity, and service. And they must do 150 hours over the 3 years. Again, this can be completely student choice. They do have a supervisor that checks in to make sure that they're on the right track and they're doing the right things. It is not marked, but students do have to reflect on their experiences. And again, students really enjoy this piece because it's fun. We have kids at our school right now who have started CAS in Dungeons and Dragons Club, or we have some students mentoring special needs students in our school. We have a Model UN club that has started at our school all through CAS. So it's a really fun way to engage in the school and greater community. So that is the program framework in a nutshell. The 6 courses plus the 3 elements of the core. All students have to complete these pieces to earn the diploma. There's no exceptions to this. There's no way around doing any of these pieces of the program. This is probably why students can find it challenging, because there's a lot to balance in their day. There's a lot of different things to think about, but over time they get used to it and they get into a groove, and many students are very successful in all aspects of the program. In terms of assessment, the IB Diploma Program assessment is unique and very different from regular BC school assessment. There are 2 types of assessments in the diploma program, the internal assessment and the external assessments, and I'll explain those very briefly now. First, I'll just start by saying that these internal and external assessments are relevant to the 6 courses or subjects that students study. The extended essay and the theory of knowledge and the CAS are assessed differently, and I won't get into that now because it makes things a little bit complicated. But in terms of the subject assessment, this is how it works. So first, internal assessment. For each of the 6 subjects, students will have only 1 to 2 assessments that actually are counted towards their final IB marks by the end of the 2 years. What this means is that teachers will do a wide variety of assessments in the classroom. There will be tests, there'll be essays, there'll be projects or debates, all of the traditional assessments that we're used to. And these marks will be used by the teacher to come up with a predicted grade of how the student will perform in their formal IB assessments. So for example, in the course that I teach, Global Politics, in our class we do debates and we write essays and we have quizzes, but the internal assessment for my course comes next year in grade 12, and students have to do what's called an engagement activity, where they have to go out in the community and interview politicians on a political issue of their choosing and then write a report on their findings at the end. This internal assessment is worth 25% of their final mark at the end of the 2 years. The teacher will mark it, but the IB will what we call moderate it. So we will send a sample of our marks to the IB, and the IB will either say, yes, the teacher has marked these perfectly, or the IB might say, you know what, the teacher marked these a little too easy, then the marks need to be brought down, or the teacher marked these too hard, then the marks need to be brought up. And this creates the global consistency for the IB program in all the different countries offering these programs. So the internal assessments are done in the classroom with the help of a teacher. They are marked by the teacher and then moderated by the IB, and account for about 25% of a final mark. They're usually project-based, so in the science classes it might be designing and performing a lab. In the social studies it's usually doing some sort of research paper, but they all vary based on the subject itself. The second type of assessment in the IB is called external assessment, which is the exams. Each student will write 6 exams for the IB diploma. There will be 1 exam for each of the 6 courses that they take. All of these exams will be written in May of grade 12, except for the language exam. In order to ease the workload for grade 12, at Johnston Heights, students write their French or Spanish language exam at the end of grade 11 and finish that course earlier than the 2 years. And this is so that when students get to grade 12, they have 1 less subject to worry about, they only have to worry about 5 of the subjects instead of the whole 6. So in grade 11, students do double the amount of hours in either French or Spanish and get fully immersed in that course and then complete one exam early. However, overall, what's important to know is that there are 6 exams. These exams are worth 75% of the student's final marks, so they're very important. They're weighted very heavily. This can be scary to some students and parents because your marks are all based on these exams, and what if they don't go well? And that can be a worry for some. But I do want to assure everyone that keep in mind these exams come 2 years after 2 years of study rather, and we do mock exams, we do a lot of practice, and students are prepared for these exams when they go to write them. These exams are marked by the IB, not the teacher. So the teacher does not have any say in what mark students get on the exam. All the teacher can do is help to prepare the students as best they can. At the end of the 2-year program, students will get what is called a diploma score. The diploma score is out of 45, so they get up to 7 points for each course of their 6 courses, plus an additional 3 points for EE, extended essay, and theory of knowledge. We convert the point scores, the IB scores, into a Ministry of Education percentage, and students will know every report card, where they are sitting over the 2 years, what IB level they are at, what percentage they are sitting at. So try not to worry about the diploma score too much, but just know these are the assessments that students experience in the IB. It is a little bit different from what we know in regular high school graduation programs in terms of the exams, but they are all very manageable and very good marks are obtainable in the IB Diploma Program. Here are the course offerings for the IB Diploma Program. I will state that these are subject to change when students are accepted into the program and they do their course selection. Some of these courses may be removed if they are not filled up due to interest, but we always offer everything and let the students drive what courses run in the school. So as I mentioned previously, there are 6 subject groups. Students must select one course from each of these 6 groups. The exception being the arts. Students do not have to take an art in group 6. They can take an additional group 3 or group 4 subject. So in group 1, students will either take literature or language and literature. In group 2, students will take either French or Spanish, so they must have done French 10 or Spanish 10, and they will choose whichever language they have already studied. In group 3, students can choose from global politics, history, or geography. In group 4, students can choose from biology, chemistry, physics, or computer science. Group 5, there's only one math course offered and they can choose whether they want to do that at standard or higher level. And lastly, in group 6, they may choose to take film or an additional science or social studies. Depending on the courses picked, students can kind of develop their own pathways and possibilities for post-secondary entry. And one of the wonderful things about IB is that it always offers student choice in terms of picking their CAS experiences or their extended essay topics, as well as their subjects. So for example, a student who is really into social science or arts maybe wants to go on to study psychology or law or political science, may take the first pathway by taking literature higher level, French standard level, global politics higher level, biology standard level, math standard level, and then maybe history higher level. The students would pick their higher levels in their areas of keen interest and strength, and their standard levels in courses that maybe they're not as comfortable in, but they'll still be just fine in those courses as well. And if you look at this chart, you can see all different course combinations for all different fields of study. Once students are accepted into the program, they will meet with me to do their course selection, and it is our job at the school to make sure that students have the right courses they need for post-secondary entry, and I will talk to each student individually about what their interests are, what courses they should do at standard or higher level, and help them build their pathway to suit their individual interests and needs. That brings me to the end of the section on what the program looks like at Johnston Heights. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. I'm now going to talk about the application process and our admissions criteria for the program. First, students must be in grade 10 in Surrey. To be clear, you do not need to be attending Johnston Heights to be admitted to the program. This is a school district choice program, meaning that all Surrey school students from any of our high schools are eligible to apply, but you must be currently in grade 10. Second thing is, we are really looking for students who love learning. You need to be a type of student who loves coming to school, who loves to be in the classroom, who likes to participate in school activities. There is no doubt that IB students do a little bit more than regular high school students. So you really have to be in the mindset that you really are happy to do that and you want to come to school to learn. The second thing is growth in the IB learner profile. I referenced the IB learner profile previously in the presentation. You can see it pictured here on the right, these 10 learner profile traits. We don't expect students to be experts in these traits, but we do expect students have some growth in these traits. Since they are now in grade 10, they should have some sort of grasp on them and the desire to continue to grow in these learner profile traits. We also hope that students are determined and resilient. There's no doubt, as I said, it is a little bit more challenging. The transition to the program is a little bit challenging for students as well. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to be willing to put the time in to do the homework and get the work done. And you have to be resilient in the sense that if you get a bad mark, you don't let it get you down. You bounce back and you keep trying. And students who exhibit these qualities tend to do much better than students who do not exhibit these qualities. Other things to think about, I'd like to show you this quote from the Here is our application and admissions timeline. Our applications will open online on November 30th at 8 a.m. You can go to the Johnston Heights IB page and you will see the application form there ready for you on November 30th. The applications will close by December 18th, so right before we go for winter break. When we return from winter break, I will be reviewing the applications and then inviting students to interview. We may not interview all students, but definitely students who we don't know from Johnston Heights may be invited to come in and talk with us. And when I say interview, it's not really a judgment-based interview. It's more of a conversation to get to know the student and make sure that they know what they're getting into with the program and that they are suitable for the program. Students will be notified by the end of January if they've received a placement in the program. In March, I will meet with each student to do course selection, and then in June, all of our successful cohort students will come to Johnston Heights for program orientation before we go off for the summer. Within the application, there will be the following components. So there will be an application form that will collect kind of basic information, name, address, that kind of thing. We will ask students to write a letter of intent. The instructions for this letter will be within the application. It will have a word limit, and it is intended to be a writing sample, so students should use their best writing and submit that within their application form. There will be preliminary course selection, and I want to be clear that this does not lock in students to their courses. We just ask students to say, what courses do you think you're interested in, because then we can start planning based on some preliminary data that we get from our application. But by no means does this lock students into their course selections. That will be done, as I said, on a one-to-one meeting with me in March. Students will also have to provide a teacher reference. They will simply provide an email address of a teacher that knows them and can speak to their work habits. I will then email that teacher a reference form for them to complete. So they don't need to write any reference letters or anything like that, but they do need to be okay with providing their email address and completing that form when it's sent their way. We will ask students to upload a one-page resume. So if students don't have a resume, they may want to start writing that now. And we will ask students to upload their marks from grade 9 as well as their grade 10 term 1 marks. So the marks that they get on their November report card in a week or two should be uploaded into their application. For applicants that are applying from outside of Johnston Heights, we also ask that they include a record of attendance so we can see that they attend school regularly. And students will need to complete the school registration forms by the time they start school in September next year, but that's not urgent for the application. That brings me to the end of my presentation on the IB Diploma Program. I'm sure that many of you have questions and comments to ask about the program. If your child attends Johnston Heights, I will be coming to all the grade 10 classes in the last week of November to speak to students about the program. So they are welcome to come to that presentation, listen in, and ask their questions there. I also have an office in 1EWW at Johnston Heights in the IB Center, and students are welcome to drop in to see me and ask any questions. If you are not from the school or you're a parent listening and you have a question, as I said, please scan the QR code, submit your question. You can also call me on my direct line, which is 604-580-7766, or email me at haler_e@surreyschools.ca. I hope that I answered most of your questions. I hope that you will consider the IB Diploma Program for your child. It is a really worthwhile program, and our students this year are experiencing a lot of success and having a lot of fun, and it is a very good opportunity. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a great night.